Good morning. Welcome. My name is Dr. Douglas Miller, and I'm the Vice Dean for Academic Affairs at the Medical College of Georgia. It is my honor to welcome you to the White Coat Ceremony for the class of 2024. We're delighted to have you join us for this ceremony, which marks and celebrates the entry of the class of 2024 into the study of clinical medicine. This is an interesting time for clinical medicine. As we reflect upon how we all can be here, we must accept the privilege of having had vaccinations, most of us, that allow us to come together and be safe with each other. We're very glad that we have that privilege, and we look forward to sharing other opportunities with you. The medical school education is an amazing process. In 3 to 4 years, bright, motivated, and carefully selected students who enter the medical school are transformed into physicians and professionals. It's an amazing personal and educational metamorphosis. We faculty members take the responsibility of assessing our most junior colleagues on that professional journey very seriously. We're honored to have them with us here today, an outstanding group of young people who will join the medical community and join MCG forever. We look forward to working with them as all of them become doctors, educators, and scientists over the coming years. None of these students arrived at this place, at this point in their lives, without the love and support and caring of family members and friends. I would like to thank all of those who worked so hard to prepare for this day on our staff and among the student body, in particular the faculty members and staff in learner affairs. I would now like to introduce the stage party. Dr. Brooks Keel, President of Augusta University, to my left. Dr. Neil Mckinnon, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Augusta University, to my right. Dr. David Hess, Dean of the Medical College of Georgia and Executive Vice President for Medical Affairs Integration. Dr. Kimberly Loomer, Associate Dean for Learner Wellbeing, Medical College of Georgia, and Dr. Greer Falls, first and second year class dean at the Medical College of Georgia. In 1988, the Arnold P. Gold Foundation was established to focus attention on humanism in medical education. The first White Coat ceremony was held at Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York, and over the following decade, nearly all U.S. medical schools introduced a White Coat ceremony, sponsored by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. This ceremony reminds us, our entire medical community, that our patients are at the center of what we do in all of our missions: education, clinical care, and research. The White Coat ceremony was created to begin professional identity formation for physicians in training by reminding us of the qualities expected of a physician as we put on our white coats. The coat represents knowledge, skill, duty, professionalism. It reminds us of the importance of compassion and caring in the practice of medicine. The coat reminds us all of the responsibilities we have to our patients. We're reminded that our patients come to us and ask for our help, and put their lives in our hands. This ceremony today reminds us that as we enter this profession, we are committed to a life of service to our patients and communities. It now gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Brooks Keel to the podium. Dr. Keel.
Good morning, class of 2024. That sounds a little bit better. What a beautiful day it is to be here. What a beautiful day it is to be able to come together for any purpose these days, as you well know, but especially today to honor our entering class of medical students. Entering class is probably a foreign word to you now because you've already been well in the mix of this, and we are so fortunate that you're here. My job is easy. My job is to congratulate you first and to thank you most sincerely. First, congratulations for being in the class of 2024. Congratulations for being in medical school. And thank you so much for a number of things. Thank you for choosing Augusta University as your place and the Medical College of Georgia as your school to receive your education. You have been told your whole life, and it's true, you're some of the best and brightest that this country has to offer, and you can go anywhere. We know that. You chose to come here. So we are incredibly grateful that you've chosen to do so, and I mean that sincerely. So thank you very much for being here at this place. But thank you for choosing the profession of medicine as a career path for you to go down. The white coat has a tremendous amount of symbolism, and you'll learn a lot about that today, and all of it's true. But it's also a visible sign to the rest of the world that you have chosen a career dedicated to the service of others, to the treating of the sick, to the healing of the wounded, both in body and in mind. If the coronavirus has done nothing else, it has rightly so shined a laser-sharp focus on the important role that healthcare providers across the disciplines provide every single day. And I could not be more proud to be the president of the only public medical university in this country, and the only public academic medical center, in Georgia. It feels like the only one in the country. I'm a little biased, you'll have to forgive me. But I'm incredibly proud to look out across this audience to see so many of you who have chosen this career. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for what you do. Congratulations, and go Jags!
Thank you, President Keel. We knew that was coming. But thank you very much again for your leadership. I now have the opportunity to introduce another leader at Augusta University, a new addition to the leadership team, Dr. Neil Mckinnon. He is the Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. In that capacity, he serves as the Chief Academic Officer of the university, overseeing 10 colleges and schools, as well as diversity and inclusion, enrollment and student affairs, faculty affairs, institutional effectiveness, planning, instruction, and innovation, as well as the Registrar's Office and the Research Enterprise. I'll tell you a little bit about Dr. McKinnon. Prior to his current position, he was the Dean of the James L. Winkle College of Pharmacy at the University of Cincinnati. He was Director of the State Office of Rural Health for Arizona and a professor at the Mel and Unid Zuckerman College of Public Health at the University of Arizona. He was also Professor and Associate Director for Research at the College of Pharmacy at Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia, Canada. As a native of Nova Scotia, Provost McKinnon completed his undergraduate degree in pharmacy at Dalhousie University, his master's degree at the Hospital Pharmacy at the University of Wisconsin, an administrative hospital pharmacy residency at the University of Wisconsin Hospitals and Clinic, and a PhD and fellowship at the University of Florida. He completed a Harkness Fellowship in International Health Policy with the Commonwealth Fund under the direction of Dr. Stephen Surnay, professor at Harvard Medical School. He completed the Institute for Management and Leadership in Education at Harvard Graduate School of Education. He has had many leadership roles. We're very proud that he is here to join the leadership team at Augusta University. We wish him well and welcome him to the podium today. Dr. McKinnon.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Miller, and congratulations to all of our M1 students here today. Just like you, this is my first white coat ceremony at Augusta University, so I'm sharing the moment like you, and of course, this is a very special white coat ceremony. There'll never be another one like this, we hope, right, here in the ballpark. I have to admit, though, if you think about the concept of today's event, it's actually quite odd, right? We're here to celebrate an item of clothing. I can't think of another event probably in our lives where the entire event is focused on an item of clothing. And the other part, as Dr. Miller mentioned previously, this is not some mystical ancient ceremony from the Middle Ages, right? This is actually something that's been developed really within the last 30 plus years, starting in medicine, starting here in the United States in medicine, and really spreading globally. One of my best friends is the pharmacy dean at the University of Otago in New Zealand. And one thing he did there about 5 years ago is start their first white coat ceremony. So starting here, it has spread globally. Thousands and thousands of medical students, pharmacy students, and other health professionals are doing what we're doing today, and that is, again, celebrating an item of clothing. And of course, as President Keel mentioned, there's much symbolism in the white coat. And you'll hear more about that from other speakers today. But for me as a fellow health professional, it really comes down to professionalism, right? When your patients will see you wearing this item of clothing, they will tell you things that they will not tell anyone else. And of course, you have a duty to keep that information confidential, to help them to resolve symptoms and disease. And ultimately, it comes down to trust. And I think today, our keynote speaker, you'll hear from her, use that same word, trust. And so, again, I'm thrilled you're here. We're at the start of your journey, and of course, we hope that you will see President Keel and I at the far end of graduation, not too far away as well. So, again, congratulations, and stay warm.
Thank you, Dr. McKinnon. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. David Hess. Dr. Hess is the 27th Dean of the Medical College of Georgia and serves as Executive Vice President for Medical Affairs and Integration at Augusta University. He's a graduate of the Johns Hopkins University and the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Completed his neurology fellowship in vascular neurology and stroke fellowship at MCG and AU Health System. A prolific physician scientist whose focus is improving stroke treatment and recovery, Dr. Hess has several hundred publications in peer-reviewed journals and has provided excellence in basic science and clinical science research. I'd like Dr. Hess to come to the podium, please. David.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. This is a first. You're the first class of the new curriculum, the first class that went in the pandemic, and the most cold white coat ceremony of all time. Now, you know, they didn't tell you Dr. Miller is from Canada, and he was the dean at Edmonton, so he's used to this. I don't know how cold it was. And then next to him, our provost, McKinnon, is from Nova Scotia. So they're not cold, but some of you, I am watching you freeze. I want you to take You know, I have two daughters, and I know when my kids are cold, and you are freezing. I wish I could have more, but, you know, when I moved from New Jersey, I gave my hockey equipment away, all my warm coats, and that's about the only thing I got left. But please use them and pass them along. But I'm going to that's the end of my speech, thank God, right? So let me just introduce our speaker, because we have a Kathleen Toomey, who's the commissioner of the Georgia Department of Public Health. You know, she actually agreed to do this earlier in the pandemic. We're going to have this in October, so I think she recorded this back in September. But she was appointed commissioner by Governor Brian Kemp in March 2019, and that department's become very important. And by the way, 7, I think, of the 18, Catherine Martin knows this, of the 18th health districts are led by an MCG graduate. So they're all over the place. And there's 18 of them, and there's 159 counties in Georgia. So Dr. Toomey is an epidemiologist and board-certified family physician. She has a long career in public health. She has held key leadership positions in the state of Georgia and passed at the CDC. She earned her medical degree and a master's in public health from Harvard University. She is a former Pew Health Policy Research Fellow at the Institute for Health Policy Studies at the University of California, San Francisco. And while in San Francisco, she is well known for her work on HIV. So please now turn your attention to the screen back here for Dr. Toomey's speech.
It is a privilege for me to be here today on this celebration of your educational journey to become physicians. Perhaps it's not surprising that preparing for this talk made me look back on my own training and life as a physician. This November, more than 40 years ago, I was where you are now with many ideas about where I wanted to practice medicine. I was certain I would be working in Africa after residency, running a hospital in a remote region of that continent. Instead, I ended up serving my obligation to the National Health Service Corps in the most remote region of our own continent, in northern Alaska, running a hospital and providing care to Alaska Native communities. Working in this isolated region, little did I know that later in my career, I would be responding to a global epidemic, and through that work, learn much more about what it means to be a physician. I'm not talking about my current work with COVID-19. I'm talking about my early work in HIV care, treatment, and prevention, which began for me in the 1980s. Many of the themes we dealt with in those beginning days of the HIV epidemic will be familiar to you from our current health crisis. This new virus was affecting some communities disproportionately. Initially, the most disenfranchised and stigmatized individuals, including gay and bisexual men and injection drug users. How the virus was transmitted was still being defined. Tremendous stigma emerged nationwide against those with HIV infection, with profound misunderstanding about risk for transmission. With no effective treatment and only a newly developed test, we had little to offer patients other than the diagnosis of HIV infection and supportive care and treatment of resulting opportunistic infections. Stigma and discrimination inhibited effective screening and prevention efforts in many at-risk communities across the country. At that time, the compassion and support I could give my patients was as important as any tool I had available to help them. I remember vividly talking to a frightened young man with Kaposi sarcoma, realizing that I was probably the only one he would be able to talk with about his fears and the inevitability of his death. And although we now have an unbelievable array of effective medications to treat HIV infection so that most individuals of all ages with HIV can live long and healthy lives, the stigma and discrimination still remains disproportionately affecting communities of color and challenging prevention efforts in both urban and rural Georgia, where we report among the highest rates of HIV in the United States. These lessons learned from my early HIV work have been enlightening even today as we are fighting a different global pandemic, SARS-CoV-2, affecting every part of Georgia, the United States, and much of the world. Leading the Department of Public Health's response to this pandemic, I have found myself reflecting back on many of those issues that I experienced with early HIV. Although the mode of transmission with SARS-CoV-2 is quite different, surprising similarities are evident in our public health response. Changing and evolving scientific information about this new virus, active resistance to testing in some communities, and fear of discrimination are all parts of our ongoing public health challenges. And at times, the public's and policymakers' indifference, distrust of science, and even distrust of public health officials are all sadly familiar and even intensified in this time of social media. Another recurring reality is that this current pandemic disproportionately affects communities of color, further illuminating the health inequities that have existed for many years across Georgia. African Americans and Hispanic populations in Georgia are more likely to be infected with SARS-CoV-2 and more likely to suffer poor outcomes once infected. The many factors leading to these increased risks relate to social determinants of health, which must be addressed as we continue our response. Many of the large outbreaks throughout the state occurred in communities where communal housing or housing with extended family members is the norm, making it difficult to distance from one another. We realized that social supports, including housing, had to be part of our preventive response. Cultural norms around significant family and community events, such as at funerals, weddings, and church services, have frequently increased risk or led to super spreader events. And further, many at highest risk work in jobs where they must be physically present in the work site and exposed daily to others who may already be infected with this respiratory virus, whether a carpet mill worker, a bus driver, a grocery store clerk, a poultry plant worker, or a migrant farm worker. Additionally, Georgia has among the highest rates of individuals with chronic health conditions, including obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and renal disease, making these individuals, if they become infected, more likely to experience long-term consequences or death from COVID-19. And many of those at highest risk lack access to affordable health care, which may discourage them from seeking early treatment. As in my work in prior epidemics, I have seen that the most effective public health officials have been those who have been able to maintain their compassion and humanity, despite the exhaustion of the job and the unrelenting criticism. Empathy can itself be healing and can help open the doors of trust in communities. We have to build trust to combat misinformation and cynicism that will inevitably undermine our collective work. Trust and accurate information will become even more important in the days ahead when a safe, effective vaccine for COVID becomes available. The ghosts of the Tuskegee experiment remain in the minds of many in Georgia and the United States. We not only have to demonstrate the accuracy of the science and the potential benefit to everyone in all communities, but also reach out with an appreciation for the toll that this virus has taken on so many families. We have to build trust again, and for sadly in many communities, trust in public health has been lost, and once lost, trust is difficult to restore. Few people alive today remember the last major influenza pandemic in 1918 to 1920. My grandfather died in that pandemic, resulting in a lifetime of hardship for my father and subsequently for me and my family for years afterwards. My commitment to this work now reflects my determination to help change the outcome of today's pandemic and prevent the death and suffering that my own family experienced nearly a century ago. I hope these vignettes of my career have given you a window into what may be ahead for you in your careers, opportunities throughout Georgia and the world to make a difference. And as you move forward in your training and in your work in the community, no matter what you choose to specialize in or where you decide to practice, please never lose empathy and compassion, which can be our most effective healing tools. Be a great physician. More than a skilled technician or diagnostician, as a great physician, you will continue to embrace compassion and empathy for your patients and their communities. In fact, you will become more than physicians. You will become healers and leaders. Our lives and the health of our communities will depend on that healing leadership. I look forward to seeing your future contributions. Thank you for what you are doing and for the work that you will achieve in the years ahead. And my sincere congratulations on this important milestone in your training.
We'd like to extend our thanks to Dr. Toomey for taking the time to prepare that address and for delivering such an effective message, and to Dr. Hess for inviting her to be part of this program. We've now reached the raison d'etre of the program, the time when our students will receive their white coats. We have announcers, Drs. Nichols, Brown, Edmondson, and Sturgis, who have joined us here today and were selected by the students for this high honor. We are appreciative of the fact that all of our students and all of our announcers are going to go through a process that will take a little time, but we're going to move it forward as quickly as we can. I'd ask Dr. Hess to join me on the side of the stage, perhaps in front of the bench here, and we'll meet the students as they are coded. And we'll turn it over now to Dr. Nichols, Carol Nichols, who will join us at the podium. Carol, please make your way to the microphone.
Good morning, everyone. Lillian Acree. Come on up. I jumped the gun with her. Sorry, it's a learning process. Leslie Adams. Sung Alexander. James Allen. Margaret Allen. You may now put on your coats. Kendall Ossup. Teresa On. Lakshitha Ambalagan. Brittany Ashkenazi. Shruti Athoda. You may now put on your coats. Andrew Austin. Emily Austin. Ryan Abadano. Adarimi Awe. Rohan Baga. You may now put on your coats. Joseph Bailey. Kaliana Velour. Brian Baisden. Sarah Beller. Mark Bernstein. You may now put on your coats. Cayman Bickerstaff. Trina Biswas. Faison Bugani. Bryant Bolds. Layla Bond. You may now put on your coats. Owen Borowski. Michael Brackett. Pierce Brody. Natalia Brody. Christian Brown. You may now put on your coats.
Bagana, yes, there you go.
Claude Bagana. Michael Butler. Daniel Cha. Rishabh Chawla. Mary Chin. You may now put on your coats. Pohan Chen. Connor Clark. Kayla Cooper. Zachary Corley. Lily Cushman. You may now put on your coats.
Hello, my name is Mike Brands. I'm a Regents Professor of Physiology, and I'm honored to be here with you this morning. Naima Dano. Thomas Dickerson. Judy Den. Joshua Dolan. Deanna Doughty. You may now put on your coats. Sanya Dudani. Nicholas Earhart. Sydney Erickson. Brianna Etheridge. Hayden Faith. You may now put on your coats. Next, please. Jarrell Vague. Mustafa Farouk. Mishma Farsi. Matthew Ferguson. Mary Forrester. You may now put on your coats. Michael Fowler. Morgan Franklin. Sahil Gandhi. Nikhil Gangasani. Peter Garcia IV. You may now put on your coats. Ahana Gaurav. Rennie George. Lauren Gilstrap. Liam Goldman. Maya Goodby. You may now put on your coats. Bethany Growlick. Sydney Greenlaw. Josephine Gitan. Anisha Gamadi. Elizabeth Hale. You may now put on your coats. Scotty Hall. Zachary Harrison. Matthew Hyken. Madison Hornick. Chase Horsager. You may now put on your coats. Alex Wynn. Harini Indrakrishnan. Nisha Jahani. Uyen Jung. Chang Zhao. You may now put on your coats.
Good morning. Umasai Kandapu. Rachel Kaufman. Girshni Kanal. Duncan Kleinbub. Natalie Crapcho. You may now put on your coats. Anderson Kruger. Audrienne LaFontaine. Farhan Lakhani. Christian Laurent. Eunice Lee. You may now put on your coats. Taylor Lee. Alice Lever. Allison Lewis. Sarah Lizay. Cynthia Lee. You may now put on your coats. Kathy Lee. Mason Lynn. Ivan Liu. Katie Lively. Matthew Long. You may now put on your coats. Sarah Liu. Anna Madia. Sharon Mina. Sarah Malik. Camelia Malkami. You may now put on your coats. Catherine Marino. Charles Martin. Joseph McDaniels. Chase McIntosh. Kathleen McIntyre. You may now put on your coats. Mehul Mehra. Daniel Marabian. Christopher Miejas. Nicole Miklas. Andrew Mixon. You may now put on your coats. Daly Morera. Shawnee Mortley. Peter Muller. Anais Natal. Samantha Newman. You may now put on your coats.
Good morning. Andy Wynn. Lena Wynn. Wasef Najim. Callie O'Brien. Princess Ogundu. You may now put on your white coats. Kike Lomo Ogunchimore. Neve O'Neill. Oops. Stephanie Paris. Disha Patel. Andrew Pless III. You may now put on your white coats. Luke Quinn. Kenneth Quay. Natasha Ramaswamy. Janavi Ramesh. Andrea Ramirez. You may now put on your white coats. Naganavia Ravuri. Preeti Reddy. Ashruth Reddy. Shola Razai. Charles Richards. You may now put on your white coats. Danielle Robertson. Summer Robertson. Caleb Robertson. William Roberts. Luis Rodriguez. You may now put on your white coats. Molly Rowe. Victoria Sahar. Anish Sangari. Victoria Savkalova. Madeline Schlafly. You may now put on your white coats. Samuel Segnu. Arika Sheikh. Joseph Shaver. Tiffany Shields. Angela Shen. You may now put on your white coats. Herrera Sadiq. Daniel Silcox. Madeline Snipes. Natish Sood. Nicholas Sorensen. You may now put on your white coats.
Hello, I am Dr. Sturgis. I serve as Assistant Dean for Academic Advising and Assistant Professor in the Departments of Emergency Medicine and Physiology. Antron Spooner. Vanya Srinivani, Alexis Stevens, Stefan Stoffberg, Courtney Sukahara. You may now put on your white coats. Samantha Summers, Deneen Taylor, Alvin Thumpalakot, Abigail Thomas, Edie Threckeld. You may now put on your white coats. Diana Toro, Deanne Trin, Nicholas Trin, Roy Urim, Namisha Vasandani. You may now put on your white coats. Sharanya Vijayakumar, Sindanya Vikram, Mi Duwin Vo, Maya Vu, and William Walker. You may now put on your white coats. Wesley Walters, Morgan Wan, Clara Wang, Ifra Warris, and Jacob Weiser. You may now put on your white coats. Max Weeder, David Wolf, Samir Yassin, May Yu Man, and Christine Yang. You may now put on your white coats. You may now put on your white coats. Giovanni Zamor, Samantha Von Moody. Jeremy Zimmerman. And last but absolutely not least, Natalie Zink. You may now put on your white coats.
So, ladies and gentlemen, with that ceremony, I present to you the Medical College of Georgia class of 2024. Give yourselves a hand. You'll always be known as the pioneers in the new MCG 3+ curriculum, and we thank you for the effort and the courage that you're all showing in your studies these days. It's difficult with COVID. The new curriculum is a challenge, but you're meeting that challenge, and we're very proud of you. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Greer Falls, the first and second year class dean. He will now lead the students in the oath that they have written.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. It is truly an honor for me as your class dean to be able to lead you in the recitation of your class oath. You can find the oath, of course, on page 4 of your program. I would actually like the members of the class of 2024 to stand. I might add, y'all look amazing. You really, really do. All right, after me, in unison, please. As the class of 2024, we are honored to be taking this oath and carrying forth Medical College, Georgia. We dedicate ourselves to the pursuit of the following principles: to be people whose lives are driven by compassion, always seeking the betterment of others, but within medicine and beyond. To practice patient and family-centered care, establishing safe and trusting relationships with our patients. To empower others to become active participants in their own health so that they may live more fulfilling lives. To uphold and never abuse the authority and trust granted to us as a privilege and responsibility that must be accompanied by leadership within the communities we serve. To aspire to our education and practice, recognizing that the commitment to medicine is a commitment to lifelong pursuit of knowledge and adaptability to an ever-advancing field. To foster an environment of collegiality, inclusivity, and fairness amongst peers and students in the medical profession. To be aware of our own humanity and limitations, acknowledging the need to always maintain a well-being so that we may best serve our patients. To seek cultural humility by acknowledging the values and beliefs of others and work to dismantle all biases and social inequities present in the medical profession. To be advocates of our communities, especially the vulnerable, by acknowledging disparities, fighting for equality, and seeking to improve access to health care for all, and to exemplify professionalism and empathy in all endeavors, holding ourselves and others to the highest standard. With the privilege of this white coat, we humbly recognize and embrace the honor, responsibilities and challenges of the practice of medicine as we go forth from these halls to our laboratories and hospitals. These ideals will go with us. We solemnly commit ourselves to these principles and dedicate our lives to the progress of science, society, and humanity. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Falls. I'd like to now introduce Susan Brands, President of the Class of 2021 for the Augusta campus and future emergency medicine physician.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Miller. Excuse my teeth chattering, but I'm going to talk fast so we can go get warmed. We'll make it through. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Susan Brands. I'm so excited to be here today celebrating with you guys. When I was asked to speak, my first thought was a bit of panic because I honestly don't understand anything that's going on with your class and all the changes that have been made. I actually had to double check you were still the class of 2024, but we verified that. But then I started brainstorming what I could talk to you guys about. And I volunteered at the Simulation Olympics this week, and I had the opportunity to get to know a few of you guys. The one main theme I got from talking to you all is that you have no idea how much you've already accomplished this year. So then I decided I would just turn the speech into an opportunity to be your ultimate hype man and list all the reasons you should be crazy proud of yourselves. So with that being said, I heard you took CMBM and fundamentals at the same time, and that is a mind-blowing accomplishment. I barely passed CMBM, and I was so terrified, this is a true story, I was so terrified going into fundamentals final that I left my keys in the car with the engine running, and the police pulled me out of the test halfway because they thought I'd been kidnapped. While that makes me sound like a train wreck, someone still thought I was qualified to speak here today. So if you haven't nearly gotten into the missing persons reports, then you're doing better than I was at this point. After somehow surviving that combination of courses, you then powered through MSK and are now almost done with CM Cardiopulm, and it's only March. Cardiopulm had arguably the absolute worst module director in this entire school. So if you survive that exam next week, you're like smooth sailing from here. Number 3, you've done all of this during a pandemic, and I think that speaks for itself. Number 4, you've accomplished all of this while being isolated from your peers. Even though you haven't had the opportunity to even all be in the same place at the same time, except for right now, I'm sure you've already gotten a taste of how critical your classmates are to your success here. They're your greatest cheerleaders and your ultimate support system. While family and non-medical friends are great support as well, no one else can really understand what you're going through besides the people sitting by you today. The way medical students bond over stressful exams and anatomy practicals always reminds me of the quote when Harry, Ron, and Hermione finally become friends. There are some things you can't share without liking each other, and knocking out a 12-foot mountain troll is one of them. And medical school is definitely a type of mountain troll. And if you haven't found that support system amongst your peers just yet, don't worry, you have plenty of time. For example, during my first year, I thought my fiance was a bit of a cocky frat star, and now we're planning a wedding, so things can really turn around. As you can see, you've already accomplished great things during your time in medical school, but part of my job here today is to give you some advice on how to continue being successful now that you have your white coat. So tip number 1, never wear your white coat in public. I cannot emphasize that enough. Never wear your white coat in public. I know you're proud of it, and it's really clean right now, but the grocery store is not the place to show it off. Tip number 2, step 1, step 2, and your GPA do not define you. Your patients are going to remember you for your personality and not your percentile. Tip number 3, speaking of patients, if a patient ever asks you how many times you've done a procedure, just say, I've done this procedure a number of times, because 0 is technically still a number. Tip number 4, if you ever think the admissions committee made a mistake, I can assure you they did not. You're here now, so make the best of it, and remember that you have the ability and capability to prove to everyone else why you deserve to be here. Tip number 5, enjoy the process. It's easy to get wrapped up in the tsunami of requirements, but looking back, these were some of the best years of my life. Remember to take time to enjoy it. And finally, the last tip is to be grateful. Thousands of students across the country would give anything to be in your shoes. Remember that when times get tough. All in all, just be proud of yourselves for making it to this point. The rest of your journey is going to be filled with all kinds of ups and downs, but look around you today and be appreciative of these people around you. You guys are going to get through this together, so keep your chins up and remind yourselves ultimately what you're fighting for. You'll make it to the end, I promise. So stay humble, be grateful, and occasionally close your laptops a few hours early and get a drink with your friends. You've earned it. Congratulations, class of 2024.
So I think you all appreciate what your future holds. Thank you, Susan. It's now my pleasure to introduce our final speaker, the Associate Dean for Learner Wellbeing, Dr. Kimberly Loomer. Dr. Loomer, please come forward.
All right. Good afternoon. Joining most of the folks you've already heard from today, I just want to congratulate you. After all the hours you spent studying, sleepless nights, feelings of doubt and anxiety, will I ever get into medical school? You're here, you've been with us a while, and you're doing a great job. Of 2,768 applicants, 240 of you were admitted to our Augusta campus as well as Athens. You are the class of 2024, and your achievement is exceptional. Your average GPA was a 3.8, and the average MCAT score was 512. Every class is unique, and yours is no different. You come from 51 unique colleges and universities, and you hail from across the state of Georgia. Many of you have roots elsewhere in the country and around the world, and your class is comprised of 108 males and 130 females, including 40 underrepresented medicine students and 20 BSMD students. You have exceptional records. I want to thank Dr. Kelly Braun and the members of the admissions committee for bringing us such a great group of you to MCG. We're pleased to work with you. Now you're in medical school and you're immersing yourself in a level of study and intensity that you've never experienced before. With the first few modules, you may wonder if you are the one mistake of the admissions committee. You are not. You've already demonstrated incredible, resounding resilience through COVID and entering into a new curriculum. Regardless of the difficulty that comes with medical school, I'm confident you'll master your material. And before you lose sight of this day, I'm just going to leave you with a couple of different challenges. First, I challenge you to go outside the walls of campus and into the community to provide the service of your hands, your heads, and your heart. Take advantage of the public health and service opportunities to make a difference in the lives of the underserved, those with whom you have cultural differences, and the forgotten souls outside the system. I challenge you to ask your professors and your mentors to share with you their personal struggles to maintain balance between medicine as a career and their own lives. I challenge you to practice self-care and wellness and well-being and to look out for your classmates. On behalf of the faculty and the administration, I want you to know that we are really proud of you. We're here cheering you on, wishing you every success. We hope to celebrate with you today and again in 2024 when you are officially a physician. Congratulations, our ceremony is now complete.
Thank you, everybody. Travel home safely and get warm.